invite the fourth and last speaker of today. And I will not be doing justice if I don't acknowledge that he actually is the author of today's idea of holding this kind of discussion. Professor Lakhvinder Singh had suggested to me that we need to do not just one academic detailed discussion, but let's have four speakers respectively, giving their regional perspectives, connecting as to what is happening, not just Ukraine, but as a European war, and link it to much of Asia. And we were able to bring in scholars to speak on Northeast Asia, Southeast Asia. And I requested Professor Lakhvinder Singh to
thank you, sir,
take care of
for accepting my. Can you hear me?
So he just give me a second. I also need to say some good words about you being a PhD from my university. In fact, Professor Lakhvinder Singh has done 2 PhDs. And first one, his PhD is from Jawaharlal Nehru University. And then he went to Korea and wanted to teach us a lesson as to how difficult Koreans find to pronounce Jawaharlal Nehru University. So his PhD is from a university in Seoul, and I cannot pronounce the name. It's as difficult as Jawaharlal Nehru for my Korean friends, I assume. He's also currently director of the Peace Program at the Asia Institute in Seoul. But my favorite is that he's a founder of the Gandhian cultural community in Korea, and he's been popularizing Gandhi and Gandhian philosophy in Korea. He is holding India's flag in Korea, and I assume Korean flag for India in India. It's a great pleasure to invite Professor Lakhvinder Singh to give a South Asian perspective on this whole issue. And then we will open it up for discussion. And I look forward to people making comments on the floor. Lakhvinder, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the detailed introduction. I'm so happy to have your kind words for me. And thank you very much for accepting my request to organize such a great event. It's much more successful than I was expecting. So I'm so happy. I think my previous speakers have already said but what was needed to be said. I have a little bit a different perspective on the situation. So I will try to give my personal perspective. It's not Indian perspective, but my personal perspective. I will try to see how I see look at the war. From sitting at Korea, Indian looking at Korea, sitting at in Korea. How look. Currently what is happening is that a very interesting debate is happening in the region. Some people are trying to spin that this war will play as important role as the Korean War. After the, in the World War II, after the World War, this USA was in big trouble in the region. He was finding very difficult to put in place the containment strategy to contain USA. So USA was in very bad shape. But as long as the Korean War happened, Korea, the free world, got some incentive, some glue. So they used it for a bigger purpose to put the containment strategy in the region, and they put the bigger security structure in the region. The security architecture which we see today has been put in place after the Korean War. So Korean War played a very important role to put in place the current security architecture in the region. So Korean War in a way was very good for the region. Even though it brought a lot of destruction, a lot of death for Korea, but as a whole, it put into place a system which is able to maintain peace for the last 70, 80 years. So some people are trying to say that this Ukraine war may play that kind of role once again. As you know, this US China was challenging US dominance in the region, but somehow US was not able to mobilize real country to organize themselves into collective defense against China. So some people are saying now we have a region. Now we can mobilize at the broader regional level to join together and build a powerful alliance against China. So some people are trying to see a positive thing into the war, that once again we can rebuild the already collapsing system. So this is a very interesting debate is going on, and very interesting perspective is going on. So I don't know how it's going to play out, but this is the one of the debate which is happening now, and we will see how it works out. But I personally feel that too much water has been flown through the Han River, and it may not be possible to rebuild the system, rebuild the Scotty architecture, which has been damaged by China's rise in the region. Most important is that 2022 is not 1957. Lot of things are different from that era. Now China is too powerful, and regional economies are too much integrated into the Chinese economic system, and, and China's military is too strong. Earlier, when 1947 was happening, China was too big. Chinese economy was too big, so it was easy to lower countries like Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, Philippines into American economic system. But now it will be very, very difficult to decouple real economy from the region, from China, and to take them back to USA. So all the hopes that Ukraine war may provide some glue to rebuild the system may be very difficult. I think damage has been done, and it will be not so easy to rebuild the system. But still, I think perspective is being put in place that maybe we can, reorganize our collapsing system. But I think it may be not so easy. I think there are 4 possible ways in which is going to hurt the ongoing war. One is as you may remember, during the early crisis in Ukraine in 2014, as soon as the Ukraine crisis happened, US attention was diverted from the South China Sea. China immediately sent a grand flotilla of 80 ships to Vietnam waters and started digging oil. So I think the same thing will happen now, that China will push again into South China Sea much more aggressively. So I think China will not let this opportunity go. As I said in a recent article, that we have to be very, very careful and aware of the situation, that opening which has been created for China during this war may not go just like this. So Chinese expansion, Chinese aggression in South China Sea may increase much more than earlier before. Number 2, the point which I want to raise is the North Korea's nuclear program. As you know, the Ukraine was persuaded to give up its nuclear weapon by the nuclear guarantee of UK, USA, and Russia. So it was a negotiated denuclearization. So now, but everybody knows what happened after denuclearization happened. That Russia attacked Ukraine. So now, how can we persuade North Korea to give up its nuclear weapon? I think Ukraine war will have a very negative effect on the denuclearization process of North Korea. I think now North Korea will never agree for a peaceful denuclearization of Korea, because North Korea has learned a very important lesson, that this kind of so-called international peace guarantees, security guarantee, has no meaning. So I think we are going to have a very, very tough situation, and North Korea is going to, as Professor Kim said, North Korea is going to test more and more nuclear weapons, more and more dangerous nuclear missiles, and balance of power is going to shift in favor of China. So I think again, the security architecture which was set up by USA is going to be eroded. Is not going to regain its strength. On the other side, I feel it will weaken as the day go on. Third important point, I feel that this Ukraine war has shown how much Western world are worried about Chinese dominance, rise of China. I think all the hatred is coming to China, even though it's war against Russia, but more and more articles are coming. How to contain China? How to contain China? I think it will this hatred against China will push China and Russia together. I think the emerging alliance between Russia and China will be strengthened more and more, and this alliance will have very serious security implications for the region. I think it will create a serious balance of forces, imbalance in the region, and regional countries like Korea, Japan, and the Philippines will be seriously worried. As you know, many countries in the region have a serious territorial dispute with with China as well as Russia. So if these 2 countries, Russia and China, joined militarily and started to impose their joint bill on a bigger country like Korea, Japan, and other countries, it will be a very serious situation. Again, US-led security order will be damaged. And most important is that Another consequence of this war could be, I think, is Japan. Japan, as you know, in 2014, when Ukraine crisis happened, and Japan was not happy with the response from USA, it immediately started talking about amending the constitution. Nationalism was amending the constitution and increasing the role of its defense forces. I think now USA power has been tested. US's ability to contain Russia has been tested. I think China may not solely dependent on USA security system. I think as the day goes by, nationalism in Japan will increase more and more, and defense forces of Japan will be spending more and more resources on weaponization of forces. So I think the arms race is going to start between South Korea and Japan, because I think Japanese people's sole dependence on Japanese, American security system, it has been eroded. So I think these are 4 consequences which are going to happen because of this war. As you know, USA-led security system was based on USA's overwhelming dominance of military, economics, and cultural. 3 dominance was there. This economic security system was based on 3 dominance, and 3 dominances has been now tested and has been exposed. So many countries, even we have a pro USA president in South Korea. Many countries may not be able to believe USA dominance and USA security system. So as the day goes by, I personally feel that US security system in the region will start eroding and will not be able to gain that kind of strength. And for that, here, as I suggested in my recent article in Asia Times, time has come for India and Korea to start rebuilding our bilateral cooperation. We should try lessen US-led security system and build our own security alliances. So that is why me and Professor came. We have published many papers together. We have joined many debates together. So me and Professor came out trying to promote the idea that time has come when we should rebuild our own bilateral defense mechanism. The idea that we can depend on a USA security system has come and gone. USA will never be able to establish that kind of overwhelming dominant system in the region. Now, time has come when US's dominance has been challenged and has eroded, and we have to rebuild our own bilateral cooperation. So, our Japanese prime minister is in India. Now, we should have a trilateral cooperation between South Korea, Japan, and India. And we should try to rebuild our own defense mechanism, our own defense institutions. So that is why I try to propagate a very comprehensive cooperation plan through which we can build our own institutions. We don't need to depend on USA or Western European country for our own security. On the other side, we should start developing our own security mechanism and conflict resolution mechanism through which we can maintain and solve our own conflicts. We are not against China as such. Even China can join us as long as China is ready to follow the rule-based order in the region. As China is ready to follow the consensus in the region, so we can build a new order in which US will not be dominating, China will not be dominating. On the other side, these smaller countries like Korea, Japan, India are trying to propagate a rule-based order. The rule-based order will be where everybody gets its due role in the region, and all the territorial disputes should be solved by a universal accepted laws. That's what I have to say. Thank you very much.